Y'all, this is my 100th scripted video. Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice here with, yes, my 100th scripted video. And yeah, I have to specify scripted because I do have like reaction videos, sorting videos where I took like quizzes and things like that. So scripted videos, this is the 100th. That's insane to think about. So naturally, I wanted to do something special for this video while still keeping it scripted, because otherwise it wouldn't be the 100th scripted video if it wasn't scripted. I discuss a myriad of fandoms on this channel, and thus I wondered if I could create a video that included all of them, even the ones that I have yet to discuss or even make a video on that I say I talk about. Favorite moments from each, favorite characters. Then it dawned on me, what is something I bring up in so many of my videos, no matter the section of the geekdom, something that I have emphasized time and time again, its importance to all forms of media? Music. Even if music is not specifically brought up in one particular video, I can guarantee you that roughly 25% of my editing process is dedicated to making sure the background music fits perfectly the vibe that I am going for. Sometimes it ends up being a little quiet though, cause copyright, so you gotta make sure you listen to my videos with earbuds. There's a reason I'm a dancer and choreographer. Till this day, music has this effect on me that I cannot adequately verbalize. It's almost something transcendent, but anyway, back to the video. At first I thought, great, I'll just pick my favorite theme from each of the fandoms, but what does favorite even imply? It's kind of a broad term, especially for me, because I could pick multiple favorites from each fandom like 10 times over. I don't know if that made any sense. And it could be for a myriad of categories too, like my favorite most emotional theme, my favorite underrated theme. You get the idea. So I've narrowed it down to this description: my favorite theme or song to listen to. To be sure, that could still have like 3 or 4 songs per fandom, but they do kind of overlap with other categories I would like to cover in the future. So keep that in mind as I try to painfully narrow it down. But it does help because frankly, while some of these songs are favorites, they're not necessarily songs I want to listen to on the regular, maybe because they make me feel a lot of emotions. Just as an example. Without further ado, this is my list of my favorite song from each of the fandoms I discuss on this channel in no particular order. Okay, it might actually be good to clarify what the fandoms are. Disney in general, Disney Princess, Disney Pixar, the MCU, Hunger Games, How to Train Your Dragon, Pokemon, Zelda, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter. I would say Animal Crossing because I do indeed discuss that from time to time, as well as a few other topics, but I don't consider it a fandom I'm a part of like Pokemon, because Pokemon, while I'm not actually as into the games as some are, I do like things like the anime and certain spin-off games, so also that keeps it at 10, and I like a good even number like that. Now let's get to the list. While I may have only just recently jumped back into this franchise, I've always had a deep nostalgic spot for a lot of those original Kanto themes. However, no matter how much I love those, or even a lot of the themes from Sword and Shield, there's only one I'd like to listen to on repeat, and that is the original Pokemon anime title theme. Frankly, I could go with either the one from the series or the version from the beginning of the first Pokemon movie. Which, by the way, I have on my Patreon my commentary on said movie. Like, you literally watch the movie with me and I give my thoughts and things like that. But yeah, just throwing it out there. Anyway, this theme is just so fun for me to listen to. Is it cheesy? Playing on my nostalgia? Yeah, most definitely, but this is a subjective list, and in my opinion, this is my favorite of all the Pokemon themes to listen to. Even before it was officially a part of the Disney company, Pixar had already established its ability to move an audience to tears with their incredible storytelling and perfectly composed scores. And while several themes such as First Day from Finding Nemo and the Scare Floor from Monsters, Inc. fought hard to be top dog in this category, the winner is the score titled The Flick Machine from A Bug's Life. This upbeat jazzy tune speaks to my training as a tap dancer and my love of swing dancing. While this film does tend to get forgotten amid the ever-growing list of amazing Pixar movies, its score is not to be trifled with. I mean, could you expect anything less from Randy Newman? The dude just knows how to capture the essence of each Pixar film he's composed music for. If you've seen my video discussing why I didn't exactly like Thor Ragnarok and what Dark World did far better in many ways, then it should be no surprise to you that of all the music from the MCU, it would be a theme from Dark World that's my favorite to listen to. More specifically, the actual theme of Dark World. While I do love the tribal feel of the Black Panther music and the silliness of the themes from Ant-Man, this song is just so freaking epic. It's actually one of my workout songs as it's got just the right flow to get me pumped up. Brian Taylor really captured the vibe of how Thor movies ought to be. It could also be, in part, my bias toward the underratedness of the original Thor and especially the Dark World movie, you know, back when Thor was actually unique, before the MCU ruined him and made him like everyone else, thus no longer unique, but it's still my favorite from the MCU nonetheless. The song, not necessarily the movie. This fandom is where picking a theme got a tad trickier. I wondered if, when it comes to movie franchises, if I ought to discredit any end credit songs, you know, like Safe and Sound from the first film, because they're not created by the film's composer and thus I wouldn't be giving them the credit I feel they deserve. After some thought, and specifically because of this fandom, I decided it was okay to allow them. The reason I pinpoint this series is because, well, it's dark, and thus the music is also dark, fittingly, and not really ones you want to listen to all the time. As cool as The Hanging Tree is, yeah, no, James Newton Howard did a marvelous job with this series. So marvelous that I couldn't pick any of his themes for this kind of favorites category. With that out of the way, I tell you that my favorite theme from the Hunger Games movie series is the end credits song from Catching Fire, Atlas by Coldplay. The general feel of the song rings of anticipation and change, which echoes the film quite well. Catching Fire is my favorite of both the books and the films because of how it escalates the intensity of the plot, introduces some of the strongest characters, and fleshes out known ones. Atlas, lyrically speaking, plays to both the mythological base of the story as well as the actual story itself. Something I would say only Yellow Flicker Beat from the end of Mockingjay Part 1 could match it in, but, you know, while it fought hard for this spot, I enjoy listening to Atlas just a tad bit more. I think Coldplay did an excellent job capturing the atmosphere and plot of Catching Fire in their song, and I really enjoy listening to its eerie, calm before the storm vibe. Oh my goodness gracious, this could be a never-ending list, but I am saving many songs for future possible categories. While Gemele no Lilo, sorry about pronunciation, from Lilo and Stitch was so gosh darn close, the winner here is Strangers Like Me from Tarzan. The combination of the adventurous musicality tied to the curiosity pouring out in Phil Collins' lyrics, my mom met him by the way, once, just pointing that out, make it an undeniably pure piece of music. It's also a song that can really stand on its own outside of the film. Speaking for me personally, this song took on a whole new meaning once I entered my first year of college. I went in as a theater major and left as a theater major, but with no experience with theater whatsoever. But the atmosphere between the professors, my fellow theater students, our tiny classes, because it was a small program, made me feel like I was truly being welcomed into a new family. This song perfectly summed up my overall feelings about my freshman year of college, wanting to learn everything there is about theater from every angle and each person's perspective, student and professor alike. So yeah, this song has a personal tie which makes it my favorite of Disney general themes, although that could change on a weekly basis, or even daily. There's many to choose from. Arguably, most Harry Potter themes are not that upbeat. There's a few of them in there, but most of them are kind of melancholy. That said, there is one piece that, while it's not showcased until the end of its specific film, is whimsy, fun, and magic wrapped pretty well into one piece. That piece is the mischief-managed medley from the end credits of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It's probably no surprise that my favorite of the Harry Potter films would also contain my favorite Harry Potter theme. I mean, John Williams does not disappoint with any movie he composes for. I can't really explain why, but this ended up being one of my repeat study songs during my time at college. There were probably times where listening to this song made me suspend my disbelief just enough to imagine that I'm actually doing the homework for Hogwarts. Or I'm in North America, so Ilvermorny. Thunderbirds for the win. Thus, that made some of the busy work a little bit more bearable. Although, I did enjoy my schoolwork, even if it wasn't related to my major, assuming it was something I was interested in, because I like learning, but on my own terms. Could I be any more Ravenclaw? No, it's not the Forest Temple. Yes, I did say it was a favorite in this video, but that was in terms of most atmospheric themes, not necessarily my favorite to listen to. I'd like to keep my sanity here, thank you very much. To be sure, The Legend of Zelda has gifted our ears with an astonishing number of incredible themes to listen to. Then you add on top of that the amazing themes by people like Taylor Davis or Zero Orchestra and the like. Yeah, that makes picking one kind of arduous. Koji Kondo, my man, you have given me a very good problem. I will say I did rule out any and all covers because there are some songs that I actually don't care too much for the original theme, but will listen to certain covers on repeat for sure. And I don't feel that that's completely right, so I'm only picking from themes that I will listen to the original on repeat. So which did I end up choosing? Before I tell you, I do need to rattle off a list of the almost chosen. I just have to. There's so many I couldn't even memorize them. Outset Island, the Wind Waker title theme, the Link's Awakening title theme, either from the Game Boy or Switch, doesn't matter to me, Gerudo Valley from Ocarina of Time, Windfall Island, you know, lots of Wind Waker themes because I fall head over heels for Celtic vibes. Okay, what if I told you that my pick for this list is actually from a Zelda game I have not even played yet? I'm completely serious, and I might regret this because I don't actually have any nostalgia tied to it, but maybe that also speaks to how good the theme is for me personally. Anyway, without further delay, one of my favorite Zelda themes to listen to is the Realm Overworld theme from Spirit Tracks. I may not have ever played the DS games, but in any playthrough I've seen, the music for Spirit Tracks seems to stand out to me. This theme utilizes its folksy instrument so well, and I think it's the pan flute that does me in. Honestly, the fact that this theme came out on top when I have 1, never even played the game, and 2, tend to always pick any sort of Celtic theme, like from Wind Waker, speaks volumes for it. It's a beautiful upbeat piece that also has a strange, tranquil serenity to it at the same time. I know a lot of people give grief to the DS games, but I would at least give the soundtrack for Spirit Tracks a good shot. But I digress. While I could change my mind every second about Zelda themes, as of right now, the Realm Overworld is my personal favorite for casual listening. One would think, given my absolute obsessive passion for this franchise, picking a favorite would be extremely difficult. And you'd be right. However, given that I plan to have future videos on a similar topic, but specific other kinds of favorites like underrated and most emotional, the picking got easier. Especially when you consider this is actually my absolute favorite song of anything ever for all time, forever 100% love it more than anything else. Which is really saying something considering how much I love music and the fact that in my whole life, it has always been plural when answering this question. My list of favorite songs, it's never been singular. That is, until I heard this one, Where No One Goes by John Powell and Yonsei from How to Train Your Dragon 2. This song is the epitome of adventure, joy, whimsy, fun. Wow. Could I expect anything less though? We already know the power John Powell delivers with his scores for the Dragon films. Test Drive, See You Tomorrow, Flying with Mother, Once There Were Dragons. And Yonsei from Sigur Rós is a master in this unique area of music that oozes ethereal and transcendent vibes. Of course, we have Together from Afar, but also look up his work for the film We Bought a Zoo and others. Combine these two geniuses together and you get the heart-pounding but also breathtaking song that accompanies the beginning of How to Train Your Dragon 2. It was the perfect fit to showcase how far Hiccup has come in the 5 years since the first film and will forever be my most beloved song. Alright, I know what longtime viewers are thinking. I see the light from Tangled. Rapunzel is indeed my favorite Disney princess, and I do adore that song, but there are actually 2 or 3 other Disney princess songs that I think I enjoy listening to a little bit more. And while Merida's song Touch the Sky was really inching to that #1 spot, it actually ended up being another song that I know I will never tire of. And that piece is Learn Me Right by Birdie and Mumford Sons from the end of Brave. Containing my second favorite Disney princess, Merida, there's something about that Celtic and Scottish instrumentation that just beckons my soul to linger in its melodies as I dream of one day running through the beautiful worlds of the Northern European and Nordic countries. Specifically Ireland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland, and of course, Scotland. The lyrics of this song perfectly, if not somewhat enigmatically, encapsulate the theme of Brave, which is showcased in the relationship between Merida and her mother, Queen Eleanor. I actually have a video talking all about the beauty of that relationship and the changes it goes through in a video right here. The voices bring a soothing, folksy feel, and of course, as mentioned in the Zelda category, I am a massive fan of all Celtic, Scottish instrumentations, if you will. Not to mention, this song stands on its own rather well, and that's probably because it's not like sung by a Disney princess, it's for the end credits, so that's part of it. But the point still stands. I love singing with this song, harmonizing with it, dancing to it, playing it on my guitar or ukulele. It's just all around a wonderful theme. Surely an odd pick for my favorite Disney princess song, but the right one for me. And finally, after almost 2 years of doing this weird YouTube thing, I'm discussing Lord of the Rings. I always planned on bringing up the fandom at some point, and even some patrons suggested that their patron name be Fellowship of the Geeks, which I think is really cool. But my familiarity with the series only extends to the movies. Despite taking a Tolkien course in college, which I'm 99% sure my professor was, in fact, a Hobbit, I don't feel that I'm deep enough into this fandom to create videos on its epic story of adventure. That said, I do adore what I know of it, especially, you guessed it, the music. There were 2 songs that I was deciding between. Both of them I love listening to equally, but for completely different reasons. Now, I feel that my mind and soul far more align with the elves of Tolkien's Middle-earth, but I am not unaware of the fact, especially because many have told me, that my heart and looks/stature resemble much more so a hobbit. And that kind of mirrors the same conflict I was having with these 2 songs. What ultimately helped me decide were 2 things. The first is the fact that one of them could easily fit into one of my other favorites categories for a possible future video. The other is my need for joyful, silly, and folksy music that beckons me to one day venture out to New Zealand. You probably have already guessed it. It's the theme concerning Hobbits. Howard Shore had to compose quite the array of music covering a massive range of emotions, cultures, fictionally speaking, and he nailed it. Concerning Hobbits is indeed a theme meant for such sweet and funny creatures, but it also contains many layers. There are measures that naturally ring of joy, whimsy, and simple times, but there are also areas that I can only describe as nostalgic, or to use one of my favorite German words, Fernweh. Fernweh is somewhat similar to the other German word Wanderlust. Wanderlust, obviously, and it means to yearn for a place that you have never even been to. I mean, how many of us have longed to visit places such as Rivendell, the Shire, and the whole of Middle-earth? That idea makes this theme kind of meta in a sense. Those sections of the piece are so peaceful and represent the Shire, which of course the Hobbits all live in, and thus they wouldn't feel that Fernweh for it, but it's a place that we, the audience, have never been to, but wish was real. Again, Fernweh, longing for a place we've never been to. And that is just a hint as to why Concerning Hobbits is one of my favorite themes to listen to from the Lord of the Rings franchise. So there you have it, my favorite song, theme, score, or what have you from each of the fandoms that I like to discuss. This was simultaneously difficult and easy. Difficult to pick just one from each of the 10 fandoms, but easy to gush about the ones I did pick. And frankly, I held back. Most of the songs had around 4 or 5 paragraphs to start with, but obviously I trimmed that a little bit. As aforementioned, because I have so many favorites that could be in a category of their own, and because I love discussing music, I wouldn't mind making more videos like this. Perhaps ones about my favorite underrated song from each fandom, my favorite to sing with, the list goes on. So do let me know if you like this kind of video and would like to see more, and what categories you would like to hear about. As always, if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my other content such as my live streams, my theories, sorting videos, what have you. And if you want, you can join the geekdom by simply subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram as well if you want, but up to you. But anyway, that is all for today. Thank you for watching my 100th scripted video.